Welcome to Speed Scene Live TV, the only show dedicated to the sportsman racer. Brought to you by Curry Rear Ends, M&H Tires, and theFote.com. With your hosts, Diana-Mite, Bruce Barker, and Scott Lucky Hudson. And here we go. Welcome to Speed Scene Live. I would be that guy mentioned, Bruce Barker. In the house as well is Hot Rod Bob. Hey, let me turn your mic on, man. Say something. I see. We should have checked that beforehand. Hey, we'll do that in just a sec. I want to bring up line one because there's Lucky Hudson.
Hey, Lucky, how you doing?
Bruce, how you guys doing today?
Hey, man, we are doing great. It's going to be one of those rock and roll shows. I know we've got people to introduce. We got guests, not just on the line, of course, but I know you got tons of great video coming up from the Speed Scene Live Nationals and so much more. Am I correct?
You are correct. I got some great stuff from the Great Bend, Kansas track. And, hey, I'm on the road right now. I'm traveling from Bowling Green, Kentucky. I was at the NHRA Hot Rod reunion, but I'm heading out to Bakersfield because this weekend is the very first NMCA West event for the brand new NMCA series that is set up for the West Coast. So, hey, all you racers, you wanted more racing? You wanted more options? Well, here it is. Here's your chance to get involved with a professional organization. So come on out, support it. Later this summer in August, they're going to have a race at Pomona. They've got some other races planned as well. So there's a 4-race series. Come on out this weekend, NMCA West. Now, tonight, normally we have Bryant Layton with the PRP Seats Off-Road Report. Well, Bryant's off tonight, but hey, got to put a special thank you out to PRP Seats for providing those high-quality off-road components. And I want to also let people know that there's going to be an open house at Extreme Automotive July 13th for National Collector Car Appreciation Day. How about that, Bruce?
That totally...
A day for you.
Man, see, that's right up my alley and down my street and all those other phrases.
Well, National Collector Car Appreciation Day is July 13th, and I'll be spending it at Extreme Automotive from noon to 8 o'clock at night. There's going to be a big open house party.
They're the guys that built
there's a lot of talk going on about the Speed World racetrack and the trouble they're in, the potential closure. We're going to talk to the guys from Speed World next week. We're going to get all the info. We've also got footage from the NHRA Hot Rod reunion at Bowling Green, Kentucky, and I got to tell you, both of the Curry Rear Ends cars went rounds at that race last weekend.
Nice.
We had a good weekend. The Curry Rear Ends worked perfect. The M&H tires were hooking up all weekend. So we're going to go ahead and get into that, tell you about that next week. And if you visit theFote.com this week, you'll notice that one of our videos is the video of the week on theFote.com.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. The Volkswagens that were racing at the Irwindale Bug-In, remember one guy had found it after 40 years, found it in Puerto Rico, and then there was the other guy that came from Scotland. Well, that's our video. So anyway, that's what I got to tell you about on my way to the NMCA West event. Maybe you should introduce a guest because I hear Anna Octane's in the studio, and even though I've never met her personally, I've only seen her on the show, I'm becoming a huge fan.
Well, yes. Hot Rod Bob, take it away for intros.
I can do that. Anna Marco here. She is Anna Octane. Now, she likes high heels and low cars, but Anna is a gearhead. She's definitely involved in the hobby and the sport of auto racing. She's the editor of Old School Rods. And what's the other magazine?
Yeah. Culture Deluxe.
Okay, and
it's I like my heels high and my cars low.
Your heels high and your car. Okay,
isn't that what I messed that up? Did I?
So, well, hey, man, I don't know. It kind of like no matter what it is, it works with Anna.
I'm so confused.
As
usual.
It's that kind of a decade.
Well, Anna, it's great to have you on the show. You did a great job last week. You kept all those guys entertained and moving. And you know what? I'm sure you're going to be a great guest tonight.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Now the pressure's on.
She keeps us moving, for sure.
Well, Bruce, you know, at the Speed Scene Live Nationals, we had a lot of different racers. And one of the things that was interesting about that event is a lot of the racers that we talked to had never actually been to the track at Great Bend before.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, well,
That was kind of one of the things we were hoping to do, is draw some new blood out there, let them see the track. Once they saw the track and they raced there, then they were all really impressed with how everything it was and how it was laid out and all the free stuff and, you know, the great racing conditions and the free power and everything like that. Like this junior comp racer, this father and son team. Bruce, take it away.
All right, let's take a look at that report right now from the Speed Scene Live Nationals.
Hey, I'm talking to Drew here about his junior comp dragster. Drew, great looking car, really fast. What kind of ETs are you pulling off in this car?
Right now we're going about 1085 in the quarter mile, and if we push it we might be going high 9s, low 10s.
Didn't even do the junior dragster. You went straight into this car, correct?
Yes, that's correct. We mainly went to the junior comp because the juniors are a little bit more finicky and there's more to them. And with the junior comp, all you really have to do is change the oil and the spark plugs and you're ready to go.
And now Andy, your son, he's doing a great job behind the wheel. It's nice to see a father and son team out here, and it's got to be fulfilling for you to be able to spend so much time with your son and do so well.
It has been. It's been a real joy, and really proud of him, and our family gets involved with it. My wife typically comes with us, and besides me just being able to put in the air in the tires, she helps out with cooking and travel arrangements. So this weekend she was in Chicago, so she's been rooting for us by texting.
She arranged travel arrangements for her to be in Chicago.
She does that.
Now, tell us a little bit about the Western Conference that you did, the race out there, and you did real well there.
Well, the Western Conference Final is the biggest race for the junior comp dragsters, and last year when I was there I got first in the warm-up race and I got third in the overall event.
Now, you were telling me before that you said there's a lot of girl racers there that are really good on the tree.
Yeah, the girls are pretty good at what they do in the junior comp dragsters. They're tough to beat.
I noticed that, in my opinion, that the ladies seem to concentrate better, cut better lights, and they're just a little tougher to beat off the line, you know, with the tree and stuff. They have better reaction times, and I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just a concentration factor. What do you think?
It's either that or they get the boys' minds off of the tree.
Yeah, that could be it. Now, I understand in addition to racing, your son is going to college and he's mixing the two. How's that going?
It'll be going great. Obviously, with any sport in college, you got to work around both the sport and the school part of it. Our family is very high on education, and we've told Drew that he's got to get his college degree. He wants to continue racing, and he'll do that. His passion is racing, and so it's going to be his major in college to go in mechanical engineering and keep his passion going with that. So we're awfully proud of him.
Now, Drew, do you think that college degree can somehow be worked into the racing arena?
Absolutely. I mean, all the things you learn through college can definitely be applied towards a racing career. Just things, I mean, it might not even be automotive for sure, but things in the junior comp are different from a typical car, so you can apply that to them.
Now, tell me a little bit about some of the sponsors that you have involved with your car.
Right now we have Custom Performance Cycle out of Olathe, Kansas, Prosper Wilbur Construction, and we're also sponsored by McGee Racing Cams, and we're also looking for some more sponsors to help us out.
Hey, how about a Facebook page? How can people watch you, get a hold of you, and find out how you're doing in your racing?
Well, I have a YouTube account and I have a Facebook account. My YouTube is DragRicer1 and my Facebook is Drew H. Prosser. So you can follow me there. My Facebook profile has my junior comp and me in it, and I'm also updating it all the time of what I'm doing.
Nice. Good job. Very professional. I like that. It's been a pleasure to talk to both of you. Thanks for taking the time, and good luck.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming out here. Speed Scene Live has been great.
Thank you, and thank you.
Thank you very much. We're very excited and glad you guys were here this weekend with us.
Man, you know, Lucky, that is an impressive dynamic duo, eh?
It really is, and very professional and a great couple, and they really kind of, you know, he's kind of thinking long term for such a young kid, and I like that. And it was kind of funny though. In fact, since Diana-Mite's not in the studio, I've got a question for Anna Octane here. Anna, why do you think the ladies make better racers?
Honestly, because they have faster reaction times, to tell you the truth. Eiley
I think
Safford.
that's probably a good answer.
Eiley Safford pulled a 000 time at Famoso
Is that right?
two races ago.
And she whole shot at Dave
Perfect.
Grusin, too.
Perfect, yeah. Perfect
Well,
time.
well, I think Bob owes you a pin.
I've got him in the car, too.
Why?
Yeah.
They're out in the car. The check's in
They're
the
on the
mail.
car. Check's in the mail.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Now, Bob, what are you and Anna going to be talking about tonight?
Well, we're going to be talking about saving the salt and Governor Brown's attempt to steal money from the off-road vehicle fund. We're going to try and get this stopped. We've got a phone number, our direct phone number into Jerry Brown's office.
Oh, now.
That's so hard to believe that a politician would try to do something,
Isn't it?
Illegal.
Especially Jerky Jerry.
Well, unlike politicians, the people at the Great Bend Racetrack, it's a car club that started in the 50s, and they've been running this track. They've been the host car club since the 50s, and it's the SRCA, the Sunflower Rod and Custom Association, and boy, I hope I said that right because I didn't research that before I said it. Anyway, the SRCA is a great bunch of volunteers, and they're all volunteers. None of them get paid. They work hard at the track, and they put in their time just for the purpose of keeping the track going. Let's meet one of them right now, a great gentleman by the name of Mike.
Hey, this is Diana-mite. I'm out in Great Bend, Kansas at SRCA, and I'm with Mike Carlson. Hey, Mike, how's the racing been this weekend?
Well, the racing's been good, but my racing was terrible.
Well, we're at the Speed Scene Live Nationals. Everybody's having a good time. Little windy, but we're dealing with it, right?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's been really gusty, but everybody's handled it pretty good.
Well, I think y'all are just used to racing in the wind. I mean, us Californians, it gets a little windy like this, we just stop. You guys just like, more power to you. You're like, suit up, time to race.
Yeah, it's just like a normal breeze for Kansas. I mean, it's 25, 30, that's nothing. I mean, when we don't get air, we're like going, oh, come on, wind needs to blow. It gets too hot.
Well, I like a good tailwind, but when it's a head crosswind, that makes it a little more difficult. I went out first round with an 002 red on the wrong side of the clock, but you know what? I'm here, I'm having fun, great bunch of people. How's it for you?
I'm having a great time. My friends came down from Salina, haven't raced with them for a while, and other than losing the first round and then losing the second round, I mean, a good time.
Is it car failure or driver failure?
The car's good, so I don't want to blame her, so I'm going to say driver.
And so now, who helps you out with your vehicle?
My wife, Susan, she's actually my owner, if you want to say that. She allows me to do this, so I thank her for that. So
Good. I like to hear that.
Yeah.
And I think she's the young lady in the little slip booth giving out all the racers their slips. She's a volunteer, isn't she?
Yes, she's giving out the good news and the bad news to people as they come up. So
Yeah, I got my bad news. She was kind of shaking her head, but I knew when I saw that red light come on, I went, what the heck? Now I can just spend more time with the racers.
there you go. Yeah, she asked me when I came by the first round, "Do you want that $35 for buyback now or what?" And I go, "Yeah, I guess, give it here." So she's pretty supportive and thankful for that.
Well, great. We're having a great time out here. Thanks so much for inviting us out to the Speed Scene Live Nationals. Anything else you want to add?
We just want to thank you and everybody for coming out and supporting the Speed Scene Live Nationals. Hopefully this is the first annual, and maybe we'll go to the second one next year.
There you go. Back to you, Lucky.
Ah, nice job from Diana-mite. And thanks, Mike, for talking to us. Hey, Lucky, of course, you're back on.
That's right, but I think we're coming up against a break, aren't we?
Yes, you are correct, sir. In fact, that break is going to happen right now. So here's what we are going to do. Let's take that quick break right here at Speed Scene Live. If you hang tight, so much more to come from the Speed Scene Live Nationals. And not only that, you know what? Here's a still shot. Let's take a look at this really briefly. There's Diana-mite applying a Speed Scene Live sticker. Yeah, that's what it looks like. That's right. All right, we're going to head over to that break, and we'll be right back right here at Speed Scene Live.
For
over half a century, Currie rear-end components have been twisting out the torque and taking the punishment. And the new Currie lineup is stronger than ever. Some of the world's most capable, hardest-working vehicles depend on Currie gears, which is why you can too. Street cars, hot rods and resto rods, drag cars, rock-crawling four-wheel drive vehicles, whatever you're piloting, Currie expertise and rock-solid design means the parts will do their job, so you can do yours. Check out Currie's custom rear ends, featuring a full line of upgrades, components, and installation options. The Currie Crate rear ends lineup offers ultra-strong construction on third members and carrier assemblies. And other underside parts, like correct link steering systems, keep your four-wheeler pointed where you want it. Add in a wide variety of solid, purpose-built suspension and brake components, and you've got one tough, ready-to-go machine. Grab a hold of a Currie rear end. Talk to the experts at 714-367-2679 or view the complete line online at currieenterprises.com. Welcome back to Speed Scene Live TV with your hosts, Diana-mite, Bruce Barker, Scott Lucky Hudson, The Off-Road Report with Bryant Layton, and The Great American Auto Scene with Bob Beck.
Wow, it is a packed house tonight, as it seems to be these days. So often, I'm Bruce Barker, and Hot Rod Bob is right there. Hey, Bob, I think for the Great American Auto Scene, it's more of just sort of you were going to check up on news and stuff in general, the topic that you guys were talking about. You guys would be, of course, Anna is here. Hey, Anna, now last week you were Anna Octane, backup girl for Stormy Bird.
Yes.
Now this week...
I still am.
That's right. And of course, this week we want to make sure we do proper introductions. Is it going to...
Proper injectors.
Okay, you want to explain that one, Bob?
No, I don't, not yet.
Okay. We'll talk about that later. However, for this week, I want to identify you properly because of the magazine connections and everything, too. So, and as well, you aren't wearing the Linda Hurst, the Linda Vaughn outfit this week. So, I'm heavily distracted. Can you tell?
Yes, I've noticed. Me
too. Give us a couple of titles again, just to make sure. Okay, there's one.
There's one, yeah. That's not the one, yeah.
My official title is Anna Marco, Senior Feature Editor of Old School Rods and Car Culture Deluxe magazine.
Okay.
Also known as Anna, I Like My Heels High and My Cars Low Marco.
All right.
Also known as Anna Octane on the drag strip as Stormy Bird's backup girl.
I think I've got it, Bob.
Yeah.
Are you good?
Yeah, I've been good for quite some time.
Okay, just making sure. And, of course, Lucky Hudson's on the line from... now, Lucky, I cannot believe you're doing the road trip. You're getting ready for the NMCA event. Is that right?
That's right. I'm heading out this weekend. I'm sitting at a truck stop out somewhere in Arizona, out in the Flagstaff, Arizona area. I've been driving pretty much nonstop for 3 days, and I only got one more day to go. And I'm sitting here listening to you guys stumble over Anna's description.
My
She's got more aliases than a tax evader.
Yeah.
But I guess that comes with hanging out with Stormy Bird and other, disreputable people like that.
It's one of the requirements.
Yeah.
I once saw a T-shirt that said, I didn't want to tell my mom I was drag racing, so I told her I was in jail for 20 years.
That's it. Yeah. Sounds like Floyd Lippincott Jr.
Oh, that sounds about right.
Well, Anna, it sounds like you like all kinds of different types of cars, just like Bob, the vintage stuff. And out at the Speed Scene Live Nationals, there was all kinds of cool cars, dragsters, 7-second cars, and bracket cars. But there was even one guy racing a front-engine dragster. So let's meet that guy now.
Tell me your name.
Rick Kester.
Rick, tell me about your car.
It's a 2010 Neal & Parks chassis, and we got a small block Chevy in it, approximately 405 cubic inches, 850 horsepower, built by Bob McRae out of California, and we run with the Southwest Junior Fuel Series down in Texas and Oklahoma.
Now, why a front-engine dragster?
I love nostalgia drag racing. The cars that are drawn on the side of my dragster are drawn by my fiance, Debbie Frazier, and they're my dad's and my uncle's cars that were built in the mid-'60s and early '70s, and each one of them cars on the side of this car on each side run at this drag strip back in at Great Bend. Yes, sir.
Wow, so you got kind of a family heritage going.
Yes, I do. Love the nostalgia. No electronics on the car. We got a trans brake. That's it. I drive the car. No throttle stops. It's full throttle.
Nice. Well, congratulations. It's a beautiful car.
Thank you.
I hope you do well.
Thank you.
Man, so Lucky, the post-op, the after the operation report. Any idea how Rick did?
After the operation, you mean after he racing the car?
Yeah, racing the car, exactly.
yeah, I don't know. I didn't know what did somebody get hurt? Is somebody I don't know what operation? Yes, he did really good. He went a few rounds. I don't know exactly how well he did because there was so much going on. We were talking to a lot of people. We were also giving away a lot of free stuff. We went through the staging lanes and we were handing out Prolong products that was donated from the people at Extreme Automotive. We were donating T-shirts and hats, and we went into the stands and we were giving out drink cozies, and we had a bunch of curry chapsticks that we handed out to the kids. And so, you know, there was a lot of stuff going on. Next week, I'm going to give you some of the race reports. I'm going to show you some of the finals of who won what at the Speed Scene Live Nationals. And I'm going to definitely tell you who the winners were. But, man, I mean, the racing went into the night. There was a lot of people there. And I got to tell you, there are a lot of these racers that showed up, and then they would lose, and then they'd bite back in and go down the track again. I kind of lost track of how everybody did.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. You know, we're looking at some of the B-roll, some of the just straight racing footage from the Speed Scene Live Nationals, and it looks like the weather was fairly cooperative. How were the temperatures and stuff there?
Temperatures were nice. The weather was really good. There was a steady breeze going, but nothing, you know, it wasn't knocking down trees or anything, and it was a full-on crosswind. It didn't change direction all weekend, so you didn't really affect the cars that much. It was a little tough, you know, keeping a hat on your head, but other than that, the weather was really quite nice. And having not spent a lot of time in Kansas, you know, I'm used to racing in the Midwest and dealing with heat and humidity. Kansas was actually pretty nice.
Yeah, that's very cool. Hey, Hot Rod Bob, let's back this video up just a little bit.
Okay.
Look at this dragster.
Yeah.
And Brandon Bass appears to be the driver here. Check out the Fairlane sweep he's got on the side there. The mid-50s Fairlane sweep.
Looking like a 56 Fairlane, yeah.
I know, except for the whole shape of the car is completely different.
Well, you know, except maybe that's Ford-powered.
Well, that could be. I wonder if that's maybe why he decorated it that way.
Yeah, we have to look at the motor a little bit closer.
Yeah, how about that? I don't forget that look, man. He went awfully fast off the line. So,
yeah, he did. Yeah, it could be a big block Chevy.
Yeah, who knows?
You know, Chevrolet.
Now, one of the guys that did do good is a guy named Billy in a Flame Chevelle. He came out to the track, first time ever. He'd never been there. He heard about it on the Speed Scene Live. He wanted to come out and check it out. He got into the Friday Night Gambler, and I think he went all the way to the semis. So let's talk to Billy and find out what he thought of the Great Bend, Kansas track.
Nice. And first we're going to get a look at the run of that car. Billy's in the Flame Chevelle in the foreground, and let's take a look at that run.
Hey, I'm talking to Billy. Billy, you did really good last night in the Gambler. You went a bunch of rounds. Semis?
Yes, I did. Thank you. I had a good time.
Now, this is the first time you ever came out to this track, so that's a pretty good indication. First time out, and you go some rounds.
Yeah, you know, you need a little luck in there every once in a while also. So, but we had a good time. The car ran well.
Now, your car looks great. I love the flames across the front, and of course, I really appreciate you putting that Speed Scene Live sticker. Your buddy told me that that's the only sticker you guys put on for this weekend.
Yeah, well, you know, I got enough stickers, but I figured that this is your race, and I wanted to try to, you know, promote it as best I can, and we'll promote it when we go back to Colorado.
Well, I appreciate that. That's nice hospitality. Now, you came all the way from Colorado, huh?
Yeah, Colorado Springs, and it took us about 8 hours to drive down here, but we had it was a good drive.
The weather was good, the freeways were open, no big deal?
Yeah, well, we came down on secondary roads, came down on Highway 96, and the wind was pretty bad out there, but that's okay. We can handle it.
Now, there's some good tracks in Colorado, of course, Bandimere, the Mile High, and Pueblo, but I hear a lot of Colorado racers have a good time coming out here to Great Bend.
Yeah, that's the other guys from my home track is Pueblo, and those guys come out here, you know, a couple times a year, and they said that everybody out here is really, really friendly, and it's a nice track to go to.
Now, you got friends helping you this weekend? You want to give a shout-out, give a little thank you to some of the buddies that help you race?
Yeah, they can say thanks to Jeff Strunk and the guys at Pueblo Motorsports Park. Those guys are always helpful down there, and thanks to my mom out there, and my dad, and just thanks to all the racers.
How about a lady? You got a lady back home that maybe helps you out by letting you go racing?
Oh yeah, I got a great wife. I mean, how many guys' wives would let them go racing like we do? You know, it's just wonderful. She's just been so sweet and supportive, and she doesn't come to the track because it's just too hot out here for her.
But she let you go, and that's the main thing. You get to go have fun, and you go back, you say, honey, I went some rounds out at the Speed Scene Live Nationals.
Yeah, I called her last night at about 11 o'clock here, almost midnight, and told her I went some rounds, went to the semis, and she was happy for me, and you know, I appreciate her letting me go.
Hey, do you have any companies, any sponsors helping you out with the car? You got a great-looking car. There must be some good people behind you.
Yeah, I got Napa Auto Parts up in Woodland Park, and Jeff Strunk. He's always been helpful for me. So those two guys are my sponsors out there, really.
Well, thanks a lot to them, and you know we appreciate them helping you come out here to the Speed Scene Live Nationals.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Man, you know, Lucky, isn't it true that it looks like there was just a whole lot of good people there and a whole lot of racers having a fun time?
It really was. There was a good vibe about the whole deal, and we were really happy with the whole event. So this weekend, I'm heading up to Bakersfield. Come on out and see me at the NMCA West event. I'm going to be racing Nostalgia Streetcar. And Bob, Anna, great to have you on the show. I'm going to get out of the way so I can sit back and listen to you and find out all about how I can save the salt.
There you go. All right, Lucky. Hey, we'll talk to you next week, I guess, live in studio. Meanwhile, have a great track record this weekend.
Run good. Now, remember, you know, last weekend in Bakersfield, over 100 degrees during the Amber race.
Oh, is that right? Lucky's off the line, by the way. Over 100 degrees.
100 degrees. That's what the guys were saying. So Lucky's in for some warm weather. But then again, coming from Bowling Green, it'll be cooler.
Yeah.
There'll be less humidity anyway.
It's all relative.
I know they won't be there either.
Yeah. Your relatives?
Yeah.
His relatives.
In Kentucky. They were, yes.
Okay.
Never mind. Moving right along.
Moving right along.
Yes.
Yes, Anna Marco is in the studio, or am I saying Anna Octane? Both.
Anna Marco.
Yeah, now,
Anna Marco.
by the way, if there's any confusion here, it's me caused. But if you check out last weekend's episode, or last week's episode of Speed Scene Live, you sort of see where we're coming from here, because last week, you'll find it on the archives page. Just click on, it's the left-hand column as you're viewing the show here, over on the website. And just click archives and go to last week. You can find Anna's first appearance, and it was crazy, wacky, cool.
And she was wearing the Miss Linda Vaughn Hearst outfit.
That's right, and that was merely the precursor to, of course, this week, which is so much more stuff going on.
I don't know if I like the gold lame or the blue.
Well, you know, this week I got fitted for an American flag outfit.
Did you?
Mm-hmm. Made out of a real American flag.
And where are the stars?
Across the boobage.
Okay.
You had to ask, Bob.
I know. I'm inquisitive.
Yeah. All right, so Anna, now refresh our memory again. You're here. We're talking about what's, despite all of our frivolity, a fairly important thing going on right here in the state of California.
Yes.
And that would be?
Well, most people don't realize that the state of California is the hotbed of legislation for the automotive industry throughout the United States. So whatever happens here usually trickles down everywhere else. And currently what's happening is there is a proposed transfer of the Off-Road Highway Vehicle Trust Fund grant money to fund the state park budget because the state of California is broke. So the OHV Trust Fund was established by law 40 years ago, and it's supported by off-road vehicle enthusiasts, and the state just wants to take it and backfill the struggling state park budget, and we oppose that.
Yeah, so they want to steal the money from what it's earmarked for, and that is the enthusiasts of racing, off-road racing, whether it is Brian Layton's off-road racing or the Salt Flat type racing, which we do at El Mirage. We don't do salt there, but we've got the dry lake, El Mirage.
Hence some of the shots we just saw.
Exactly. Okay. And what Governor Brown is trying to do is abscond with the money and say, well, it's going to be a loan. Well, it's never going to get paid back because he'll be out of office by the time it comes around, and who's ever in office by that time is going to forget about it, and the money's not going to come back. Now, we talked about, or Lucky talked about this club that runs the racing up in Kansas. That is basically what's happening with SCTA. SCTA, the Southern California Timing Association, is a club. They are not a big corporation. The races that we're talking about, that we're trying to save, and that's the Salt Flats and El Mirage, is club funded.
Actually, it's 13 clubs.
13 clubs together.
That were founded back in the 20s, 30s, and 40s when hot rodding on the dry lakes was in its infancy, and a lot of aftermarket manufacturers came out of that industry, such as Edelbrock and Offenhauser.
Right.
And and it's all self-supporting through its contribution through the club dues, etc. I'm a member of the Gear Grinders SCTA, and we not only do speed trials and at El Mirage and Bonneville, but we clean the lake bed. We put the cones out. We take the timing trailer out. We make sure that everybody gets their ETs. I mean, we're very proactive. That's part of membership of being in each club. So, I mean, we put monies in a fund, and the Save the Salt is a different issue. That is trying to save the salt lake up at Utah from potash mining.
Yeah.
And we have donations. You can get merchandise at savethesalt.org, and those donations go to the attorney's fees and other necessary costs. And so it's the same with the OHV Trust Fund. These off-road vehicle enthusiasts have been putting money in this fund for 40 years, and now the state of California just says they're going to take it and put it elsewhere, which is actually breaking the law, because the law states that this trust fund is just for protecting off-road vehicle issues, which includes camping, protection of fragile ecosystems, protection of endangered species, paying for the rangers, paying for the search and rescue teams. All of that comes out of this fund. The state doesn't pay that.
Now, we also have other areas. It's not just racing. You've got special areas in designated areas, such as up in the mountains near Fraser Park, where off-road motorcyclists have a designated area they can run. Now, and just for fun, there's no races there. It is strictly take your motorcycle out. It's an off-road vehicle. It's not allowed on-road. And those are some of the places that this funds. Same thing with dune buggy areas and so forth. So it's not just the racing that's going to curtail or affect. It's going to be the enthusiasts, the weekend people, the people that go out camping with their families and take their off-road vehicles out and need some place to operate them. This is what that fund was set up for. It was set up to save those areas, to fund those areas. And now the funding is going to be stolen, effectively, and they are going to run short. Well, if they run short, then those places will be shut down.
You know what? And it's funny, too. We'll actually get sort of a call to action thing going here in just a bit as to how you can help, how you can put your finger in this dike and try to stop the water flow. Because, you know, I maybe a little parting shot here as we head off into a break. The fact that I think because, you know, the economy, of course, is tanked for every state in the union. Yeah. And so state governments, I think, as well as the federal government, they're looking for ways to pay for things that they want to keep paying for. There are certain areas, though, that shouldn't be touched because by law they can't be, and yet it looks like this is just going to be touched anyway.
It's going to be, and what's happening is the people that are proposing these changes are people that are not enthusiasts in what we are talking about. They drive their whatever McCall-it's cars, their little jelly bean machines, and if anyone happens to like a hot rod or a muscle car or a race car, well, that doesn't concern them, so that's not an issue. We'll just take the money from them because it's not going to affect them.
Yeah, it's them, it's not us, so we'll take it from them.
That's right.
You know, I don't know. You know, a person can get into long, drawn-out arguments on this whole thing. And perhaps, maybe we will.
Yes,
but
with
first...
frivolity installed.
That's right, frivolity. But first, with Anna and with Hot Rod Bob, I'm Bruce Barker, and we're going to be right back, right here at Speed Scene Live.
M&H Tires, makers of racing tires that give you the best bite for the buck. You've paid a lot for that horsepower. Make sure you use it all. M&H Tires has the best compounds available for maximum traction. Go to mandhtires.com. That's mandhtires.com. Buy direct and save at the website and mention the Speed Scene for a 5% discount. That's right, mnhtires.com. Call them at 661-324-4773. M&H Tires has tech guys ready to answer your questions or to recommend the best tire for you, slicks or DOT. M&H Tires has it all. M&H were the first to create racing tires for muscle cars and also the first to create racing tires for sport compact cars. Legendary M&H Tires. Shop online, mention the Speed Scene, and save 5%. Get the best racing tires, great personal service, and save 5%. Go to mandhtires.com or call them at 661-324-4773. mnhtires.com.
Everyone in the armed forces that has served to defend our great country and our freedom, all of us here in the United States of America would like to offer our sincere appreciation for all that you do and all that you've done. To every family that has made a sacrifice for us, we thank you.
Welcome back to Speed Scene Live TV with your hosts, Diana-mite, Bruce Barker, Scott Lucky Hudson, the Off-Road Report with Bryant Layton, and the Great American Auto Scene with Bob Beck. Bob Beck's in studio tonight. Yep. I'm Bruce Barker. Let's get some cameras fired up. By the way, you heard mention of Bryant Layton there with the Off-Road Report. He's out this week. Joining us, though, once again next week. And Bob, welcome back. Anna is back for part 2.
In front.
Yeah, Anna is front for part 2.
Yes.
All right. Hey, there was some signage going on. We're going to see some stuff here in just a little bit.
Right. We have been. But
I'm trying to just muddle through this, and
yes,
as obvious, it's it's working sometimes.
Yes, it does. We work sometimes,
yes.
Not often, but we do.
Okay,
we have to get that paycheck somehow. We were talking about the racing aspect of it, but it's more than just that, because eliminating the off-highway vehicle trust fund program is going to subject 27 million acres of public lands in California to perils because they're going to be unmanaged, unchecked with off-road vehicle usage. So there's not going to be any policing of those areas. Now, BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, only manages 11 million acres. The funds that go into the off-road account help manage the rest. And there's protected areas. There's no rangers that are going to go out if they're not getting paid. So this is going to subject a lot of areas, such as the desert area in Moreno Valley, Ridgecrest, Barstow, Palm Springs, Needles, El Centro, and the economically disadvantaged rural communities that depend on the OHV tourism will suffer job losses and more hardship. Now, this is such as the case as in the Anne Arundel County area that borders the El Mirage lake bed, where a lot of this SCTA events are held. So it's not just the racing, it is the effect to the communities and the ecosystem as well as jobs.
Now, when you say things like, the unpoliced areas will essentially increase because all of a sudden there's no funds for the clubs that are helping to do that.
Right.
That means, damage to the... It sounds crazy to think. Damage to the environment because the money is being taken from this, even though it's, when you think about it, it's for essentially off-road use with vehicles. But it's intended to, of course, police that so that people are lawfully
utilizing
them.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the reasons BLM was started was to protect those lands from misuse. You had people running trails and so forth that were in areas that were protected or dangerous, or they had an ecosystem in them that we're trying to save. With the BLM taking over this, and they can only do, like we said, 11 million acres. We've got 27 million total acres that have to be watched and protected, and that's what the off-road fund did, as well as allow the off-road use of vehicles safely, properly, and in designated areas.
Now, of course, we're seeing some of that off-road use right now. I think this is more El Mirage footage.
Yes, that's El Mirage footage from Mark Brazeau from the Gear Grinders. He's our official videographer, and we want to thank him for use of his footage. But I did want to mention that some of the protected lands includes Native American sacred sites.
Wow.
And endangered species habitat areas too. So the other thing is that the SCTA protects racers from killing themselves on the dry lakes. I mean, we put the cones out and keep them within certain boundaries and don't let people cross over the track when you're racing. Right. And I mean, it's, we're very self-policing and self-organized, and we just, we don't want our funds just taken away, and then there's nothing left for us to use for our own purposes and needs.
So we've got a phone number you can call. Bruce has got that hidden away here. We're going to be able to pull it up. It's going to get you directly into Jerry Brown's office. Now, he probably won't pick it up, but call this number. It's 916-445-2841. Press 1 for English when the recording tells you to. Then press 6, and shortly thereafter, a live rep for Jerry Brown's office will pick up the phone. Politely and nicely. Don't jump all over them. Don't yell. The rep can't do anything for you. But they can take your voice and take your word and say, Jerry Brown, do not steal our funds.
Who's doing the voting? We're looking at the wording here on screen. And by the way, we'll have that phone number up again in case you miss it during this segment. But is it Senate, House of Representatives? Who votes?
Both. It's an Assembly bill and a Senate bill. There's Senate bill, I think it's 742, that protects the area, and they just keep amending it. And what I think is important, that if you have a hobby that you love, you need to be aware of what's affecting it. And so, you do have a voice, and it does matter. Every time you call in to that office, that call is logged in a logbook, which lets the governor see how many voters are paying attention, and it does make a difference.
Yeah, so we need you to really get that phone locked in. Call those numbers. Call it often. Let's do it Chicago style. Vote and vote often. But let them know, it's again 916-445-2841, and you'll hear the recording. It'll tell you what to press 1, then press 6 when it asks you to. You will go to a live rep. Tell them that you are in favor of preventing the legislature and Governor Brown from taking the funds from the OHV, the Off-Highway Vehicle Fund, because that is what's earmarked to protect land, not to damage it.
Now, of course, this is a no-brainer, but I got to ask just to make sure, since Speed Scene Live is viewed all over the world, the only California residents probably should.
They don't ask. No,
don't ask?
No, I've called in and they just said, what do you want to say? And I told them, I said, I don't want the OHV funds taken away to fund other things other than what they're supposed to. And they didn't ask who I was. They didn't ask where I was calling from. Now, they may have caller ID, so they could have been able to tell that. But, voice your concern. Call, because in El Mirage and all the other forms of off-road racing or driving, people come from all over the country for this.
Well, and of course, as you're saying, El Mirage, and we mentioned earlier, by the way, Anna, since we did see a few images from the Bonneville salt flats, you did mention that's a separate issue. It's not involved with this, right?
Yeah, Bonneville is a separate issue. They have a potash mining issue that they've been trying to work with the mining company for years to put the salt layer back on the salt lake, so that there's enough thickness of salt for racing.
What are her shoes?
I'm wondering that too. All right.
Yeah.
Well, enough of the shoes. I think we're actually seeing some El Mirage footage right here, though. But all right,
that's one of our gear grinders.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Who is that?
How about the name of this
fella?
fella?
Oh, I couldn't see.
And who's that?
I think that was Bob Sykes.
Bob Sykes? And who is this lady with the strange shoes?
She looks like she's moonwalking with beer cartons on her feet.
Well, see,
don't know.
Because this is Thriller.
They're little RV homes.
Little RV homes, yes. And this is an SCTA official?
Oh, that's one of our officials, yes.
And you know who he is?
No, but he protects us from going too fast.
And he is going to be now immortalized on videotape.
That's right.
Well, they actually, the timing tower gets, it's like an RV. It gets pulled out there.
Yeah.
And they all relay through headsets to keep track of what's going on the lake bed.
Now, have you ever had the opportunity to drive a car out there?
No, not yet. You have to go through safety.
Yes.
And you have to know how to
do that. Never mind.
Yes, I'm very unsafe.
Unsafe at any speed.
Oh, well, what do you know?
You've seen that sign on the highway, slippery when wet?
Actually,
Yes.
it's dual carb shaved low miles burns rubbers and a curry rear end.
Oh, we're actually hybrids here on CC. Especially on my segment because we burn gas and rubber.
Well, there's a controversy too. What's better, salt or silt?
Okay.
I'm not sure.
You have the guys that love the salt, and you have the guys that love the dry lake. And all are very unique geographical areas. I mean, they're millions of years in the making, and so when money is put aside to protect them, it's so we can have fun and be safe. We're not abusing the area.
No. Now, what you see here, now, obviously, this isn't the salt flats, it's not the dry lake. These are photographs that Anna has taken. That's you under High and Mighty? That's you at work?
This is part of my work for the magazine. I was under High and Mighty. This is at the Griffith Park Observatory.
Oh, look at that.
This is one of my covers. That was the first cover I ever did.
Nice.
This is just part of my work.
When you say the first cover you did, what, the whole thing or the photos? Or
No, the first cover shot that I made that was chosen for a cover, which is,
so
it was
the
an
Chevy
honor.
with the woman. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know
you do a lot of pinup photos.
I do girls with hot rods. I'm not a
you do.
pinup photographer.
Okay.
There's a difference. That's usually studio, and
all right.
I just shoot female hood ornaments on iron.
Yes. Oh, hey, there's the cartoon I was talking
there's
about.
me.
Here is Anna herself in all her glory.
Well, and by the way, if you're on a low-res screen, there's Anna's slogan as well. I like my heels high and my cars low.
That's true.
What car is that? I'm trying to identify.
It's a custom Chevy.
Something.
Or something.
That's me and my boss.
Your boss?
Poor Alan. He puts up with me.
Oh.
I'm the bad kid in California.
Now, was this another cover you got?
Yes, that was
cool.
CG.
And this is the magazine. I've got a few copies of it, actually. And
that's me.
That's you. Someone actually took a picture of you.
Rolling around.
So, Anna, how did you get involved with this push to try to keep those monies? The issue we've been talking about. How'd you get in?
You know how I got started in this whole automotive scene was through off-road highway vehicles. When I was 7 years old, we'd go out to the beaches and go dune buggy racing.
Man, you must have had some comments in the waiting last week with Bryant Layton.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
And of course, I love it.
Yeah.
I loved it, and it just progressed to cruising Van Nuys Boulevard and going to the drag races and circle track racing at Ascot.
Now we're showing Randy Winkle's promotional speed shop, wasn't it?
No. That was an NHRA winner from the 60s.
But it's in front. Isn't that in front of Randy Winkle's place?
Yes, that was. That's right. You're right.
Ken Racer Brown. There's Verona.
This is Verona, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you know your racetracks.
I worked at the same ones you've been photographing at.
That's just pay up, sucker.
Yeah, he got that from Jesse James.
And that's just burnouts, car club, shooting a car club, and it's just the Goners. That was from the Goners Car Club.
So you're at an event probably every weekend someplace.
I pretty much cover a lot of Southern California, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and as well, we got so little time with you last week when we were with Stormy Bird. But tell us a bit more about this movie. You were on set, I guess. Doing whatever you were doing with the Snake versus
and the Mongoose.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stormy Bird and Randy Winkle were technical advisors on that film for 14 days straight, and they were doing a lot of propping and continuity, and they were making sure that the technical aspects were properly
that the cars were right. That everything was correct and displayed correctly.
And they were pulling 14-hour days.
Wow.
So were you doing what people call in movie, I think it's called production stills, or were you just kind of there?
I was doing production stills, yeah.
Yeah, oh, how cool.
Because I'm with the race team that they had pulled their cars in from the race team, from the Bird and Winkle race team, and so I was just shooting it for posterity, and I got some really cool shots
Yeah, no, I was saying Storm was talking about that. That movie, I was talking to Perdome. I got to interview him last Sunday at the Road King show, and he says the movie is scheduled to come out sometime around March of next year, and they're hoping that it's going to be as big a hit and the best automotive movie since American Graffiti.
Wow. That's
but it's going to be strictly about drag racing, and it's not just about drag racing, it's about the men. It's about Perdome and McEwen and what they did.
Yeah, their relationship and some of the things they went through, and all the drag racers, all the legends were there on that set. Tommy Ivo was there, and Kenny Stafford came down.
The reason Ivo was there was after dark, and he was awake. We call him Vampire. I mean, he doesn't get up before 1 o'clock in the afternoon normally.
He had some pretty gnarly shenanigans with Don. They hung him over a balcony and put alarm clocks and in air vents
ducts,
and.
They even taped Tommy to the wall with racer tape one time with high-speed duct tape. And you got to remember, Tommy Ivo was all of maybe 110, 120 pounds, dripping wet.
Yeah, he's kind of a small guy.
Yeah, he was, and, he talks about they used to tell him to take a shower, he had to run through the shower to get wet. The space between the drips was too far away.
Oh, jeez.
But, now, Tommy also told us one time, again, he's a night owl. He stays up really late, sleeps late. And while everyone was asleep, in the days before transporters, everyone had crew cab dualies from Chevy or GMC. Well, this little bitty guy went around picking up the hoods off the vehicles and changing them. So the black cars got the white hoods, the white cars got the red hoods, and so forth.
He was quite the terrorist.
Oh, yeah, and they got even with him, too. One time he put oil in Perdome's shampoo bottle.
Wow.
That pissed him off.
Oh, big time. Big time. But the stories, those two guys, now, they're getting together again for the 60th anniversary of the Road Kings at the NHRA Museum. And we're going to put them on stage again. We're going to have a panel discussion with them.
A lot of course, this being Hollywood, a lot of people do big movie screenings at the Chinese Theater and, some of the other theaters in town. I wonder if, because the Burbank Road Kings are so close by, I wonder if there's going to be any events like that. I can't wait to see when this thing comes out.
It's going to be nice, and Perdome does credit the Road Kings with getting him started in drag racing, because he was a painter for his dad at his dad's body shop in Van Nuys. And became friends with Ivo and Maravis and Jimmy Miles and the other guys from the Road Kings, and that got him into racing. And he actually drove for Tommy when Tommy was shooting TV and movies, because the contract Tommy had said he couldn't drive during shoots. So Don was driving Tommy's car.
Well, how about it?
Yeah, and
way to get started.
Yeah, and when Tommy first went on tour during the off-shooting season, Perdome went with him, and they traveled the whole country barnstorming, and that's how the name of the car, the Barnstormer.
Isn't that funny? That's like during a Motown session. Barry Gordy or something walks out of the lobby and says, "Anybody here can sing?"
Yeah,
come on in.
I hope they have a cackle fest at the premiere.
That would be great.
Wouldn't that be fun?
We'll have to talk to Ewald and see if he can bring out some cackle cars, or Stormy and Grusin, and bring them out.
And Randy. Just fire them up right there on Hollywood Boulevard at the Gromans or something.
Especially Randy and Stormy, since their cars are actually in the movie as well.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
That would be a loud premiere. That would be sweet.
But they'd love doing it. This is a great car you shot there.
Yeah.
Where was this shot?
That was shot in El Cajon.
Really?
That was Mike Van Zetten's car. He supported home-built hot rods, and that car is pulled together from all scrap.
Oh, is that right?
I love what these guys are doing. This is what's keeping hot rodding alive. I know a lot of guys that you got to have paint. Look at these cars with disdain, but this is what is keeping hot rodding alive, because these cars can be put together for a lot less than a used Econobox.
In other words, it's the hot rod that when hot rod was in its infancy, and people were putting things together from junkyard parts.
Exactly. It is hot rodding as it started. It's not the Coddington or the Foose movement that is, pristine, beautiful, sculptured artwork. These are functional, inexpensive, put together by backyard mechanics and hot rod ingenuity.
Yeah, it's more traditional hot rodding as opposed to street rodding.
Yeah.
And also, if you think about it, they're preserving vintage vehicles.
They are.
Yeah.
Instead of sending them to the scrapper.
Yeah, that's true.
And they're still driving them, which is awesome.
Yeah, recycle it by putting it back together again.
There you go.
There's El Mirage.
Yeah,
I think in the background we're hearing some radio traffic. Is that,
Yeah,
that
that's-
little...
He's turning right. He's turning right.
That is the timing tower calling what's going on the lake bed during the run.
Yeah, a bit of a long shot, but it kind of looks like it might be one of those little Volkswagen Rabbit pickups. I'm not sure.
I think there's a Chevy
Love?
S10.
Oh, S10.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, here's a little Honda. I say that because it had a big name on the side. It said
But,
Honda.
the guys race in different classes,
Yeah.
and they all try to break speed records. So they're all out there doing the infinity over zero thing that Cole Kuntz used to talk about, which is finding nirvana at the top speed that you can attain.
Right, and top speed's not necessarily 300-400 miles an hour.
No.
Because the class is built based on engine size, vehicle weight, and style. You can build a car as small as you want or as large as you want. What class? Pick a class and go for it. You don't have to go 200 miles an hour, although that's the qualification to get in the 200 mile an hour club, is you have to set a record and you have to go faster than 200 miles an hour.
Yeah.
In both directions. I think it's not just going down
you
one.
gotta
It's
back
like
it up. Yeah, you got to have a two-way run.
There's
You
a
gotta
lot
make
of
record.
criteria. But going back to the trust fund, I mean, this is what, supporting, keeping that fund intact is allowing this sport to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't like land speed racing, doesn't mean that it doesn't need to exist,
No, and it's not just the land speed racing. Again, we've got to clarify that. This is off-highway use, and it polices and monitors the use of off-roads areas.
Correct.
To keep people from abusing them, from them going into protected areas, from damaging the ecosystem. It keeps them in prescribed areas that BLM has set aside for off-road highway use. And again, like you're saying, just because you're not involved in it doesn't mean it doesn't need to exist. It's like the attacks on the hot rodding and drag racing. People that are not involved in that are the ones that are against it because it doesn't affect them in a positive fashion.
Also, once you start chipping away at one aspect of it, usually it starts to trickle down theory and gets involved in everything else, too. So if you take one fund away from one special interest group, chances are they're going to start taking money someplace else, and then we all suffer, even though they're saying it's for the bigger picture, which is for the parks. But what about the little guy who's already putting the money in to enjoy what he's doing? It's just not fair.
Well, it's like taxation without representation.
Correct.
Because people
It's
have paid
essentially
in.
that, yeah.
People have paid in for a specific tax on a specific fund. That money is now they're attempting to take that money and put it into something else that you didn't try to represent.
Right, and it's not the off-road vehicle enthusiast's fault that the state of California can't manage their park budgets.
Yeah, well, and that would apply to so much. We've seen, and this applies, by the way, I know we're talking right now about California, but, if you followed some of this stuff, if you have a gasoline tax in your state, it's probably likely that some of the money that was originally, siphoned, as it were, off that gas tax is not going where it's supposed to go anymore.
No,
it's going somewhere else.
Right, and the roads in California show that, and that's a prime example of it. The gas tax was supposed to maintain roads.
Right.
The gas tax has been hijacked for some other use, and now our roads in disrepair.
Yeah.
And they're having the same problem in Yosemite with the snowmobiles the past 12 years. They've been struggling with managing snowmobiles and
that is an off-highway vehicle.
Right.
That is what we're talking about. It's not just wheeled vehicles, and it's not just cars, it's not just motorcycles. It's any off-road highway vehicle.
Yeah. All right, look, we want to make sure that phone number shows up at least one more time. And what happens with this phone number? What are we doing with it?
You're going right into Jerry Brown's office, and you are voicing your opinion that you do not want the off-highway vehicle grant program to be rated for other uses.
Correct.
All right. It seems like a no-brainer, but sometimes you just got to push a little, man.
That's it. And push and push and push and push. I want that phone to ring busy.
That's right.
Call in and win. No, I don't know. Yes, you do call in and win.
You actually do, yes.
That's right.
All right. Hey, you know what? I can't believe the hour is up. We had some great stuff from Lucky Hudson. And what? Yes?
low miles.
Low miles. Ladies and gentlemen, she has low miles. Where's that hand, Bob? Oh, okay. You're going for another
Bob
sign?
was sending me dirty notes in class.
That was clean paper.
Oh, clean paper, but I have it. Nice. All of those apply, Anna.
And octane with dual carbs.
That is really well done.
I just want to thank the SCTA and you guys and everybody who is off-road vehicle enthusiasts.
And the lady that got us together for this
Heather
tonight?
Black.
Heather Black.
She's the club secretary for the Gear Grinders. We want to thank her for helping promote this.
Hi, Heather.
Thanks, Heather. Love you.
And I think we also have, he'll be in the end credits, but who is the videographer that we got?
Mark Brazeau. He's also a Gear Grinder.
Nice.
He's our videographer, our official club videographer.
All right. Well, it's funny. We got some enlightenment on this edition of Speed Scene Live that I had not expected. So, Bob, thank you so much.
Not a problem. Remember, I'm Bob Beck, and you've got gas.
Yes. Next week, of course, we'll be back to much more of a... It's more of an even keel. Anna, great to have you back in the studio again, and as well, of course, to kind of chart this strange course here. We'll see what happens. We'll keep you posted on Speed Scene Live after the vote.
The vote.
All right. So, hey, everybody, I hope you have a great week. You, Anna, you, Bob, and me, Bruce. And we're going to be back 1 week from right now, right here at Speed Scene Live. Meantime, thanks for watching tonight's show. The Encore's next.
Speed Scene Live TV, the #1 online motorsports TV show. Brought to you by Curry Racing Rear Ends, M&H Tires, and thefolk.com.